my cheeks be hollow? Shouldn't my face be ravaged, frost-chilled, burnt by the desert sun? Shouldn't my heart be filled with grief? Shouldn't I be worn out, ready to collapse? Then I was frightened. I was terrified by death, and I set out to roam the wilderness. Fate of mankind has overwhelmed him. Now let the gate of sorrow be closed behind me, and let it be sealed shut with tar and pitch.
Echo! Freedom! Yes! You know, I was going through this phase when I was in the hospital. I didn't let anyone take a picture of me. I was so sheltered. I just pushed everyone out of my life because I couldn't believe I lost a leg. But I've learned to accept it and love it, because it's how you respond to things. It's how you respond to adversity. It's how you respond to tragedy, not react. I remember writing a message to a friend, and you know, I was talking about happiness and trying to understand life. You know, just because I have one leg, am I never going to be happy anymore? No, I can create happiness. You know, I can create it right now if I choose to. And I knew it was a process that I had to go through. Like, I have to do this right now, because if I stay in this position, just feel sorry for myself, oh, I'm a victim and this, then I would never get to where I want to be. You know, I know my doctor told me that the most that hip amputees we have that walk is with crutches and is with assistance. And, you know, I thought it was one of those feelings that, you know, I didn't really listen to him.
At the beginning, it's a clean slate, and it's a lot of unknowns that way. And soon they begin to realize, and personalities also play a part in that, what their role can be. You know, patients who never ran, who never did activities pre-amputation, for some reason, when they have an amputation, their whole world opens up in a unique way. The type of activities he does are not the everyday activities of a typical hip disarticulation amputee. And so therefore his prostheses are not typical. They're also atypical in how they're designed, how they're engineered, and how they allow him to do these kind of activities that he chooses to do.
I never thought it would happen to me, but it's one of those things where I was, you know, 19, 20 years old, straight into the military, and, you know, I really wanted to just to explore life, to explore. You know, I didn't want to join the military and just have this mediocre job. I wanted to be out there in the front line. And you know, my job in the military was a combat engineer. And what a combat engineer does is we go out and we do route clearance. So we drive these, you know, ginormous vehicles, and we'd go out there and we'd look for bombs. You know, you're wearing 60 pounds of gear on you, 110 degrees outside, driving 3-4 miles an hour looking for IEDs. And you know, halfway during my deployment, a recoilless rifle, which is like a big bazooka rocket, struck my vehicle. I felt as I was sitting up there in the gunner's hatch, I was paralyzed. Doc Padgett, that was sitting right there, he put tourniquets on my legs to stop the bleeding, and then into the helicopter, and the helicopter took me away. And that all happened on my 21st birthday.
I think the biggest key for a hip disarticulation, somebody who's lost a hip joint, a knee joint, and an ankle joint, let alone foot, trying to simulate that electronically, hydraulically, with fluid control of knee systems and hip systems, carbon fiber systems, lightweight systems. All of that is what we're trying to do as best as we can today to mimic what we can for that patient. Where are they at on the scale of activity so that we can come in and choose the right technology to support them to achieve and maintain those activities. We don't want to limit the patient. We want to advance the patient.
Since I don't have any joints, you know, like this, to propel me forward, this would be the only thing I would have to sort of give me that energy back to push me forward and lets me advance back on this leg. And I started to focus on the things I could do. When in the hospital, all I was focusing on was the things I couldn't do. I envisioned myself, right? Going through surgery after surgery, through so much pain. And it was me running. Before I would go to sleep, it's something that I would go to and reach for. With determination and focus, I wanted that, just this image of like immense focus of what I wanted in life.
And so we have to specially design a prosthesis that does that effectively for high-level daily activities as well as high-level running and marathons. When you run 80 miles a week at times, training and doing life that way, everything has to be very tuned in.
I was doing them to inspire other people, but you know, at the same time, I was doing them so other people would accept me and like me and approve of me, right? Approve of my disability. When, you know, the only thing that I ever wanted, the only thing that I was actually chasing was for me to accept myself. For me to accept how I look now for the rest of my life. For me to accept the fact that, you know, I'm young and healthy now, but who knows?
It's tough to see the war and what happens with loss and limb loss and the sacrifices of humans, Americans like Ed and all that they sacrifice, but then it comes full circle and technology advances too, and so in the end, the next 10 years will benefit a whole other population. I want to educate my patient on how to use the tool and how to take that device that we create for them and make it have the greatest impact possible.
You know, I have this belief that, you know, no matter what happens out here, no matter what the external circumstances are, anything that happens, you lose a leg, you have to go through a breakup, anything that happens out here, you have the ultimate choice, you have the ultimate power to decide how you want to respond to it. To decide if, you know, is this situation going to strengthen me or is it going to weaken me? You know, I ask these questions to myself, like, is this going to be a burden for the rest of my life, having this leg, this disability, or is it going to be a gift?
Now let the gate of sorrow be closed behind me, and let it be sealed shut with tar and pitch.